Hey, Verena.
Hello,
Hey,
good morning.
how are you? You good?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm all right, thank you. Yeah, very good. Nice to hear you.
Plenty of sunshine here. It's lovely.
Amazing, better than last year.
Yeah. Did you see the sun going down yesterday? All orange and red in the sky.
I know,
Did you see
yeah.
it?
I was on the beach on Thursday night. It's the same thing. It was beautiful.
Yeah, it's gorgeous.
Oh, yeah. More of that.
All right, well, have fun.
Cheers.
Can I just check you can hear me all right?
Yeah, I can hear you as well.
Good morning,
Hello.
by the way.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Have a good one.
You too.
No, they haven't. They're coming. Yeah, they're coming. Yeah, I knew they weren't. After that conversation yesterday, I knew they weren't going to be ready until today. So I'll have to nick your lip mic before Benny looks, because the plan is to be out of here at like 5:30.
Okay, I'll probably do Benelux on your headset then.
Box 1 hat Rot, ist bei BMW.
Goedendag and welcome to the Netherlands. We are here in Zandvoort, probably the only location in the DTM calendar that feels a bit more like a vacation than work actually, especially with the blue skies and the sunshine. It is warm and we're expecting a very hot qualifying and a fantastic second round in the new season. And the man who's doing really well is Maro Engel. He actually won the Nürburgring, the 24 hours of the Nürburgring last weekend, so he came here on a high. He's already sitting in the car already because obviously at this point it's the third qualifying of the season. It's all about collecting these valuable points and we're so excited to be here. It's one of the most beautiful circuits because it's embedded into the dunes and as I already mentioned, perfect weather, so let's do this. Let's go qualifying.
Excellent. Thanks very much indeed, Verena. Good morning, everybody. Welcome then to this second weekend of DTM 2026. And we've ordered the sunshine again. Unlike last year, the skies are blue. It's going to be sunny. It's going to be dry all weekend. It's going to be pretty warm as well, up to around about 24 degrees, about 10 or 11 degrees warmer than what was a, at times, wet and cool 2025. Last year, we had wins on the Saturday for AMG and of course, went on to become the champion with this team that runs Thomas Preining Manthey, and Riccardo Fella now aboard as his teammate for this season. And the Sunday race was run in the dry conditions and won by René Rast in a BMW. But it's hard to predict how things will work out here in this circuit, because in the GT3 era of DTM, so the last 3 years we've had GT3 cars racing here in the championship. We've had 6 races and 6 different winners. We've had 6 qualifying sessions and 6 different pole sitters, and the winners have come from 5 different brands. So it's going to be wide open. Maro Engel is a driver that's won here in the past. He was second on the grid for one of the races last year. He finished as the race winner when he was with the Landgraf team driving the Mercedes in 2023. And as Verena said, he's leading the championship because he was one of our 2 race winners in the opening weekend of the season at the Red Bull Ring. Could have won race 1, but for a problem with his left rear in the pit stop, which delayed him and cost him what looked like seriously a potential win for him. He finished 3rd in that race. From 5th on the grid, he then went on to win on Sunday. 2 podiums in the opening weekend for Lucas Auer means that he's 2nd in the championship with a 2nd and a 3rd. Marco Wittmann had a 5th and a 2nd, and on both races he came through with lots of overtaking from lower grid positions. So he's 3rd in the championship. And Thomas Preining, who we've seen already, he was the other race winner at the Red Bull Ring, leading an Austrian 1-2 in race 1 ahead of Luigi Auer. He had a win, but only a 13th place finish in race 2. So he's 4th in the championship, the 2023 champion. 44 points for Engel, 37 for Auer, 31 for Wittmann, and 29 for Preining. There then is Marco Wittmann, who is a 19-time race winner in the DTM, and his last win came here at Zandvoort in 2024. If he gets one more win, he'll move up into the top 6 of the all-time winners in DTM. And when we get to the Lausitz Ring for the next weekend of DTM, he'll move into the top 3 of all-time DTM starts. Only 2 drivers have had more DTM starts in the history of the championship than Marco Wittmann. He is here to try and win this championship. He showed his intentions, that is for sure, in the opening weekend at the Red Bull Ring with some very tidy overtaking. Got his elbows out. This, though, is the driver that was impressive yesterday. Matteo Cairoli, in his first season of DTM, a former Porsche Carrera Italia champion, 2nd in the GT World Challenge Endurance Championship alongside Maro Engel and Lucas Auer last year, and a Nürburgring 24-hour race winner. He was the driver in that pink Emil Frey Racing Ferrari that was quickest in both of the free practice sessions in pretty similar conditions yesterday afternoon. So then, welcome to Zandvoort here on the North Coast Circuit. We're about 400 metres from the coastline, from the beach. You get always quite a breeze here, as you can see from the flags. That blows, particularly at this time of day, a bit of sand onto the track. So drivers complaining it was pretty slippery in that first free practice session yesterday. Let's see how they fare in this 20-minute qualifying session to determine the grid for the opening race of the weekend, which comes up this afternoon. My name's Chris Hartley, and alongside me in the commentary box to help talk you through all of the action this weekend, it's good morning to Brian Oliver.
Good morning, Chris. Good morning, everybody around the world watching DTM, and we are so excited for this weekend here at Zandvoort. Always something special, always a party atmosphere. As you already mentioned yesterday in the free practice sessions, Matteo Cairoli certainly stealing the headlines. But one thing we know is the track is like a living, breathing creature here in Zandvoort. It changes an awful lot. And the conditions that these drivers were experiencing in the late afternoon yesterday will be very different to what it is this morning here at before 10 a.m. local time. The temperature will be different. There'll be different amount of rubber on the track, and of course the sand that does blow in from the dunes as well. So still a little bit of a voyage of discovery as the cars come out now for what will be the installation lap. They'll go round, and then if we live up to expectations, they'll all come back into the pits again, ready for the heat-soaked sequence.
First look at the circuit, then you can see some of the dunes that surround the track from a fantastic drone camera there. The circuit is just over 4.3 kilometres around. There are 14 turns. It's incredibly undulating. You can't really see that from the overhead pictures, but you will see it from some of the trackside cameras. The fastest part of the circuit is the long start-finish straight, at the end of which the cars yesterday, the top speeds were hitting around about 253 kilometres an hour. Hard on the brakes then into the slowest corner, Tarzan, which is just a second gear corner rather, taken at just 90 kilometres an hour. Through there, they head through the back section into Gerlach, through the right at turn 2 and into the first of the banked turns, 18-degree banking when the circuit was redeveloped in 2020 at turn 3. Critical to get a good exit from that corner because you come out of that in second gear, 105 kilometres an hour, then you've got this big steep uphill climb up through turns 4, the right, flat out up through Herseringen turn 5 and up to the infamous turn 6 at Slotemaker, named after the late great Dutch racing driver Rob Slotemaker. Up at turn 6 at the top of the hill, over a crest and turning right, the cars go airborne and then they charge towards the top of the circuit and Schleivac where they hit the brakes once more. There's confirmation of the Drivers' Championship points as I gave them to you. A reminder that there are 3 points available for pole position, 2 points for qualifying second and a point for third. And the top 3 drivers from the previous race will carry in the race success ballast, 20 kilograms then on for the race onto the car, the Mercedes of Maro Engel, who finished as the winner on Sunday at Red Bull Ring. Marco Wittmann will carry 10 kilograms of success ballast in race number 1 today, and Lucas Auer, who finished third, will carry 5 kilograms, but they do not have that success ballast on for qualifying, so it's a dead level playing field for this one. So as I said,
sorry, we interrupt. We're showing a red flag, so cars coming back into the pits. So I think we had this yesterday in free practice, where I think it was Max Powell who was dropping fluid, and I wonder whether somebody is dropping fluid again. We're looking there at Luca Engsler, the other of the Lamborghini Temerarios. Let's have a listen to his team radio.
Oh, there's water. There's water in turn 7. Cooling water.
Coolant water on turn 7 at Schleivac at the top of the hill.
Copy that. Race director said they cleaned the track before the session and should be fine.
There's a lot of water in sector 2, boys. A lot of water in sector 2. It will be for sure a messy session.
So that has clearly come from a car in this session.
Reported.
Because we certainly haven't had any rain, and I don't think there was anything after the Freck qualifying that was just taken place before this. The marshals here do a sterling job. They're always busy here at Zandvoort, aren't they? So looks like there's a car that may have deposited some fluid, one of the DTM cars, so it'll be interesting to see what happened there. Yeah, we saw yesterday it was one of the Lamborghini Temerarios, who, just as a side note, were looking fairly solid. And I hear word that they've had dispensation to make a rear wing adjustment on the Temerario, which has made a difference. And the BOP has been adjusted as well. So they were certainly looking a lot more solid yesterday.
Yeah, Mirko Bortolotti, the 2024 champion, was 4th quickest in free practice too in his TGI GRT, Grasser Racing Team run Lamborghini Temerario, the new Lamborghini for this season. He was 4th, but actually he aborted a lap towards the end of the session, and what he was going even quicker. He'd set 2 personal best sectors, so he could definitely, because he was only a fraction behind Thomas Preining anyway, he could have definitely ended up in the top 3 yesterday had he not had he completed that lap. And yes, he was in the top 10 in the first session as well. Luca Engsler, who we heard from on team radio, was just outside the top 10 in the first session as well. So the 4 Temerarios, 2 run by the Red Bull app team and the 2 run by the TGI team by GRT, Gottfried Grasser's team, looking much more switched on than they were at the Red Bull Ring. They've been working away at Grasser using what's called a 7-post rig, which is actually owned and run by Nico Rosberg, ex-Formula 1 world champion. And on the rig, highly technological setup. They take this car, the Temerario, for a day's testing, but it's indoors in a warehouse essentially, and they're testing on the post rigs each corner of the car, so all four wheels, but also the pitch front and back of the car, and it tilts and it turns and it twists, and they program in different corners, different racetracks, and they've found a lot of data out doing that. Right, let's get some news from Verena.
And I'm here with Volker Striezek. And Volker, tell us, we've got a red flag. Maybe you can just quickly explain for the viewers.
It's not so easy at the moment because all drivers were on the heat talk lap, and now the red flag is coming. That is not so good because we don't know how long the red flag will be. And that means maybe we have to start again with this heat talk lap, and that is not what we expected before. And also for the tire performance, it's not the best one.
It's not the best one. We'll see what happens. But also in qualifying, it's always that after a while, all the cars go back in the boxes and everything. So that's the usual procedure. So I guess that's something you can also use now, or how does that work? Or are you going to do that again afterwards?
No, yes, of course. We do the same procedure as we do in under normal circumstances. But what we don't know at the moment, how long the red flag will be. If you are coming from the heat soak lap and we stay some minutes and then we go out, and at the moment we don't know how long we have to stay. That could be that the tire is getting too cold and we have to start again. And that is the problem in the end of the qualification. Hopefully we have enough laps that we can do to bring the best performance from the tire on the ground and in lap time.
All right, I see the problem there. Okay, let's cross our fingers and let's see how long the red flag lasts. Thank you so much.
You seem positive.
Absolutely, Volker. The sun is shining. We're all positive, of course. Back to you.
Thanks very much, Verena. Volker Striezek there, the original DTM champion, 1984 DTM champion, who replaced Robin Durr as technical chief at Durr Motorsport this year.
It's an average day in the UK there.
Slightly icy, it looks like, doesn't it? That's the marshal testing out for himself just how slippery it is on the circuit. So there's not a lot to the eye of fluid there, but it obviously was enough to alert the drivers, and the drivers reported that back, and that's why the session got red flagged. 17 minutes, 22 seconds left on the clock. They have to do another outlap, and then before you know it, there's only going to be 15 minutes left. But in the context of DTM qualifying, that's loads of time, really, isn't it? Because they normally, really, once they have let the heat soak come through, as long as they've got time to do that, they usually head out for around about 7 minutes of actual flat-out qualifying and try to get 3 quick laps in, don't they?
Yes, we're used to having a period of inactivity at this point in quali anyway, although the clock has stopped, so we're going to have a little bit longer of that. I loved seeing the marshal testing it. You can have all this high-tech equipment, but ultimately the best way to work out if there's any grip is to slide along the track. That's the way to do it.
While we were hearing from Volker Striezek, we also saw some pretty cool shots of Jules Gurnall having his hair dried for him by the race engineer. He wasn't. That was just to cool him down. I assume it was set on cold setting just to try and keep him cool, because actually when you're in a race car, the ambient temperature outside, add about 30 degrees to that inside the cockpit of the car. So if it's 22 degrees outside, it's around about 52 degrees inside the car. They need to be kept cool. Car number 3 is under investigation, which is Kelvin van der Linde, for causing a red flag in qualifying. So that is the suspicion that fluid may have come from the BMW of the South African. Now, if you cause a red flag, if you found to have caused a red flag in qualifying, you lose your fastest lap from the session, so that could be crucial.
Yeah. Which means you'll have to do 2 fastest laps to get a decent grid qualifying. But they don't look like they're rushing to do anything with the car. So what? Oh yeah, you're pointing at there. You can see some fluid, but it doesn't look to be a lot of angst about it. They all look quite chilled at the moment. So I've not really a clue where that's come from. Right, are we going to have a look here? There's a slow-mo. We can see him there going into the corner. You can see the back end sliding a bit, maybe sliding on his own fluid. And you can see he's leaving a trail there, isn't he? So is it something that's overfilled, or was there something that came off? But as I say, they don't look like they're working on it too frantically at the moment. So clearly not a cause for concern mechanically, but a cause for concern in terms of qualifying position.
Yeah, right. Let's see if we can find out more down in the pit lane with Verena.
So let's find out more. We've got Thorsten Schubert here, and obviously it's the car of Kelvin van der Linde that's losing some sort of kind. So Thorsten, was genau passiert gerade mit Kelvins Auto? Verliert Flüssigkeit? Können Sie das kurz erklären?
Ja, irgendwo haben wir einen Ölaustritt. Wir müssen jetzt sehen, was da genau ist. Wir sind gerade am gucken, wo es herkommt, und hoffe nicht, dass der Motor irgendwas hat. Also er fuhr jetzt rein. Wir müssen mal sehen, wo das Öl herkam. irgendwas muss nicht ganz richtig gewesen sein.
So let me just quickly translate. There's an oil leakage in Calvin's car, and that's why he had to come into the box. And obviously the mechanics are checking now, and Thorsten just said they're still trying to find out what the problem is. Hopefully it's not a problem with the engine. And do you have an idea how long this might take? Because everybody obviously is waiting for the red flag to lead. So what do you say? Wie lange glauben Sie, dauert das noch?
Mal sehen. Ich hoffe, dass sie ihn noch lange draußen sauber machen, dass wir noch hin gucken können.
Thank you so much, Thorsten. So he's not losing his sense of humor, that's for sure. He said he's hoping it's going to take not that long, so they can still hopefully finish the qualifying. So let's see. So back to you.
Thanks, Verena. Yeah, well, while you were talking to the Shootout Motorsport boss, the estimated restart time came up on our timing screen from race control. It's quite a delay, 10:15, so around about 20 minutes they estimate it's going to take to get the session back up and running. So that kind of makes sense, doesn't it? Oil rather than water, the way the Marshall was slipping and sliding on it, and it's obviously a longer fix to get oil cleared up than it is water coolant from the car.
And of course, if the BMW was dropping oil, they'll want to be absolutely sure they've sorted that, and indeed it's not going to do any damage when they fire it up. So Kelvin van der Linde with the Schubert Motorsport team, they're going to be looking long and hard at that. We saw them suddenly setting to work on the underside of the car, but there'll be a lot of furrowed brows in that garage. Meanwhile, everybody else sat around. So we've got this delay. It's going to be about, I think, 18 minutes before we get back underway. So there's Luca Engstler out of the car. It is very warm here already. I mean, it's just coming up to 10 o'clock local time, and the temperature is rising already. The people are pouring in to the Zandvoort circuit. There's a real holiday atmosphere here, but we're all on holiday from quali at the moment as we wait for the track to be cleared. And clearing oil up, not the work of a moment. It's not like you can just sweep it up, is it?
No, exactly. You have to treat it properly with chemical dust and make sure it's there completely gone, because any oil on slick tyres, and at that corner as well, as I say, coming out of turn 6 up at the top of the hill at Slopemaker, they're doing around about 240 kilometres an hour, hard on the brakes then, down to fourth gear for Schleibach at turn 7, which is where that oil was dropped, and downhill into that turn as well. We saw a couple of big offs there last year with punctures. It was Jordan Pepper that had one and Timo Glock had one. It's very quick, and it's a proper old school circuit, this, as in there's no big wide runoff areas. You've got the track, then you've got the gravel traps immediately next to them, and then you've got the barriers. So yeah, they have to be super careful. Ricardo Feller may be regretting the decision to go to the end of the pit lane now, because whilst others have stopped inside the garages and got out of the cars, as we saw Luca Engstler, there's Thierry Vermeulen out of the car. Poor old Ricardo Feller is roasting at the moment, sat in that green Porsche 911 at the end of the pit lane, and he's going to be there for 15 or 20 minutes. So Thierry Vermeulen, who is yet to get his first podium at this circuit. He's had 4 podiums in his 3 years racing in the championship so far, but he hasn't yet got one at his home circuit here at Zandvoort. There's a lot of home support for him. There's Nicola Bart for the Come To You Racing team. And there to the right of the picture is Mario Schubauer, who led SSR Performance and Lamborghini and Mirko Bortolotti to the championship title in 2024. He's been recruited by Francois Verbiste and the team at Come To You Racing this season, and has joined to help run the team. So with him and with Nicky Tim in the team, things looking very positive for the Belgian squad, who really impressed last year and have already now got their best finish with Nicky Tim with a 5th place. Right, let's get back down to Verena in the pit lane.
And I'm here with Luca Engstler. Luca, we've got a big break there now. All in all, 20 minutes red flag. What does that do with you? I mean, obviously you guys want to go out there qualifying. Also in regards to the tires, what does that mean?
Well, not ideal, obviously. The boys think about fuel loads in the beginning of the session, but also tire preparation, so it's less than ideal. But I think it's the same for everyone, so let's see what we can do.
And you guys, the drivers, were reporting the oil out there on the track. What did it feel like? Can you describe that?
I don't know if it was oil or water, but it was from turn 7 all the way until pit in. So I think it will be a messy run now for sure.
All right, but hopefully they can clean it up. I mean, that's the whole idea of it. Let's cross our fingers for that. And all in all, I mean, Zandvoort is embedded into the dunes. It's a beautiful racetrack, but it also means sand on the tracks. In regards to grip, what does that mean?
Well, it feels a bit like on the Nordschleife last weekend. So we have a bit of oil, we have a bit of water, we have a bit of sand. So yeah, all pretty normal, I would say.
I was just going to say, you guys are professionals, you know it. All right. Well, thank you so much, and hopefully, best of luck for the qualifying later on. Back to you.
Oil, water and sand, Brian. Just what you need on slick tyres with 600 brake horsepower for a qualifying run against the best GT drivers in the world. But great to hear from Luca Engstler, and well done to him for last weekend, Brian. So fantastic pole position in the Nürburgring 24 hours. And a great comeback for him and Mirko Bortolotti and the team at Red Bull app to get onto the podium at the 24-hour race.
Yeah, absolutely brilliant. Of course, qualified on pole position, which was fantastic. Had a few issues at the start of the race, then fought back, proving there's still life in the hurricane yet as well, which was really good to see. So Luca, always popular, and really, really strong performance last week. There, the beach is starting to fill up, but 23.6 degrees centigrade. It's going to be a hot day, and this afternoon, when we get to the racing, it's going to be really warm as well, isn't it?
Absolutely right. Right, Verina's got more for us down in the pits.
And I'm here with a man who came here on a high, that's for sure. Maro Engel, you won the 24 Hours of Nürburgring last weekend. And congratulations. I mean, that was amazing, wasn't it?
Yeah, special feeling. It was 10 years since my last win and since Mercedes-AMG's last win. And to finally get that big win again was very special.
Absolutely. And also you're here now in Zandvoort as the leader of the championship, 7 points ahead of Lucky Hour. Now, unfortunately, the qualifying is starting with a red flag. It's a long break there. What does that do with you? I mean, obviously, I know you're always focused, staying straight. With a professional like you, probably, no problem, right?
Well, I mean, it's the same for everyone. So obviously it's not the ideal scenario. I think everybody would have wanted to be almost done by now. But I mean, it is what it is. And I think the team out there are doing a good job to try and clean the track. And then hopefully we can get on with things soon.
And also you won in Zandvoort, I think the last time 2023. So it'd be nice to repeat that this weekend.
I couldn't agree more.
And last question, I think Steffi told me, because at the Nürburgring, at the Nordschleife, it went so well, and here it's kind of the small Nordschleife. You asked her to come here again as a lucky charm, is that right?
Yeah, she was here back in 2023, and obviously, as you know, people who follow me know that there's a lot of racing throughout the year, so it's always a challenge with family life. So try to have her come as many times as possible to the races, and that we can spend time together.
Wonderful. Well, best of luck for the qualifying as soon as it resumes. Thank you so much, Maro. Back to you.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. Yeah, great to hear from our championship leader. Nice to say that, isn't it, for Maro Engel. His wife, Steffi, here. I probably didn't take too much persuading. Which track do you want to come to this year? I'll come to Zandvoort, the one with the beach and the sunshine, please. It's 23.6 degrees. 23.6 degrees. It was this hot yesterday afternoon. It's already as hot as it was yesterday. Track temperature over 30 degrees, which is exactly what we had yesterday as well. Cool helmet for Jules Gounon. Now, while we congratulate Maro Engel for his fantastic second victory at the Nürburgring 24-hour race, we have to say to Jules Gounon and to the man you're looking at here, always smiling when we see him, Lugi Auer, commiserations alongside Max Verstappen and Danny Hunkadea. They were the team that led the 24-hour race at 7/8 of the race until 3 hours to go in a drive shaft failure. So hard luck for them. Right, Verina's been very busy finding more people to speak to down in the pit lane.
Yeah, being very busy here in the pit lane. Now I've got Lugi Auer. Lugi, you're second in the championship at the moment, 7 points behind Engel. So obviously, I mean, at this, even the qualifying, it's all about valuable points. And now we've got the red flag, and it means that the tires are cooling down. What would you say? I mean, after the red flags continues, it's just same game as always?
Yeah, it's a bit different because we did already a heat soak lap. So the tires have one heat cycle, which I don't know, is it good or not? We will see. Will be interesting.
All right. And let's talk about last weekend. You were driving with Max Verstappen. Unfortunately, it didn't go that well. Tell us about that.
It went 21 hours perfect.
And then it didn't.
And then, unfortunately, we had a DNF. But it was really cool. I have to say, as a team, as a group of drivers, we did amazing, and we had a lot of fun, a lot of hard work, and it was really cool.
And now hopefully really cool it's going to be here in Zandvoort as well as soon as the qualifying resumes. All in all, Zandvoort, I mean, for us, after the race, it feels almost like a little bit of a short vacation with the sun shining, the beach and everything. Do you like Zandvoort? Is it one of your favorite tracks?
Yes, especially now with this weather, it's actually amazing. It feels also a bit like holiday, but I have to jump in a car. But no, it's an amazing old school track. Very tough, very technical, some good high-speed corners, so great.
So that means you prefer more the challenge than the easy tracks?
Yes, 100%.
Of course, it's Lucky Hour, a stupid question. All right, thank you so much. Best of luck for the qualifying. Back to you.
Brilliant. Yeah, Luki, he loves a high-speed corner and a heavy braking zone, does Luki Hour. Great to see him enjoying himself on holiday, he said. And we saw pictures of Ricardo Fella still at the end of the pit lane in the car, trying to fan some air into the car by opening the door back and forth now. Down at Manthey, his teammate looking nice and cool there, yes. Thomas Preining, and they're trying to find a really long extension lead at the moment and a hairdryer to get to the end of the pit lane to get Ricardo from somewhere under around 60 degrees, which is what probably he's feeling at the moment inside that car with all that kit on.
I'm going to correct Lucas Sauer on his position, his finishing position at last week at Nürburgring 24. It wasn't a DNF, Luki. No. They did actually get the car repaired and got it across the finish line, albeit a little way further back. But yeah, it was a bit heartbreaking for him. But do you know what? The thing about Lucas Sauer, we've said it once, we've said it many times. He is so gracious, whatever happens. I mean, last year he had every reason to sulk. Oh, don't go down there, mate. He had every reason to sulk after the end of the season, but he didn't. He was so gracious, and he really deserves it, and always with a smile and positive comments.
Yeah, and he didn't do anything wrong last year. He did everything he could. He drove a fantastic season. It just wasn't the one to go his way on that occasion, but I'm sure it will come. Right, Vereena's got more news for us.
But a new face in the DTM. We're excited to have you. It's a second round. Red Bull Ring went so-so for you. One, I think, time you didn't finish. The other time you were 17th. Now here in Zandvoort, what are your hopes for Zandvoort? I mean, it's a beautiful track, that's for sure. Challenging, but beautiful.
Yeah, indeed. Very beautiful, very nice landscape around here. I think we knew what was the challenge when we entered this championship. It's the second year now, so no, I knew already the track, so it will be okay. Red Bull Ring was a bit of, let's say, not being lucky enough and some mistakes here and there. But I would say we did a pretty good job overall. Arriving here at Zandvoort, we know it's always challenging, but I guess it will be fine. We just need to find a good window for the car, which is always difficult here in Zandvoort because the tarmac is really different from one sector to another. But in the end, we feel confident. I guess it will be quite good for us.
All right, well, best of luck. Thank you so much, Nicola. And back to you.
Thanks, Vereena. Yeah, nice to hear from Nicola Bart. Started his second season in the championship. He's not got that much GT experience. He's only 24. His background originally in terms of car racing was in TCR. Like Luca Engstler, who was a multiple TCR champion. Nicola raced in TCR, front-wheel drive cars in terms of touring cars. And he only came into GT racing in 2022, 4 years ago, raced in the GT World Challenge Europe Series. Was Gold Cup champion in 2023, made his debut last year, and so far his best result in the championship coming at the Norris Ring last year with a 13th place. Right, back down to Vereena.
And I'm here with Nikki team. Wow, Nikki, good seeing you here in Zandvoort. We're all looking forward to Zandvoort. Beautiful weather, amazing circuit. Now, unfortunately, not the best start into the qualifying with a red flag, but so what, right? I mean, it's you're going to make the best out of it. It's going to be a good weekend.
Yeah, I think there's worse places than Zandvoort to have a break, so we're just going to hammer some expressos now for the last, I think, 15 minutes. And yeah, then full gas as always. What really to say? You try to stay high, but with the expressos, and then try to relax and enjoy the beautiful weather here.
Maybe I can grab an espresso from you guys as well. I think I need one too. But Zandvoort, I mean, last year it was terrible weather here. I remember it at least. Now it's beautiful weather. It almost feels more like a little vacation than work. But I mean, it's still a challenging track. It's old school, it's cool, but it's challenging. What would you say is the most challenging part about this circuit?
It's everything. It's the old school one. I think everyone likes it here. I think there's no racing driver that would say Zandvoort is not on the top 5 list of tracks around the world. So yeah, it's always a good challenge. You need some yeah, big things up at the hill, going down the hill. The second sector is always tricky, so it's very technical. Also with the surface, obviously with Formula One, they put some special surface for the kids, and then we have to survive around the second sector with some older surface. But yeah, same for everyone. It's a good challenge, and that's what we like.
All right, well, enjoy it. I think your espresso is getting cold, so back to you.
Absolutely love him. You can always rely on Nicky Tim for a brilliant quote, can't you? About 3 in that interview. I thought he was kidding about the multiple espressos until the camera panned down and showed he'd got 2 espressos on the go. I'm not sure Nicky Tim needs an espresso. The zest for life that man has. And what magnificent hair as well. I always have hair jealousy as a bald man when I see Nicky Tim's fine mane. And the other quote was, they resurfaced the track a bit for the kids. You know, the kids that race in Formula One.
Amazing, isn't it? What a character. That amount of caffeine explains why he always looks wild and ready for war. Right, well, we are about 4 minutes away from getting things going again. I should think that Riccardo Fella is cooking. We saw them cleaning the under tray at the front of that car as they put the front back on the BMW. So one would like to think they've sorted the problem out. The sad news is that they have confirmed that the quickest time of Kelvin van der Linde will be cancelled in Q1 because he caused that red flag. So he's going to need 2 really good laps.
Yeah, absolutely. And they're still working on the car. Look, poor Riccardo Fella melting away. Will be itching for that clock to tick down in the next 4 minutes so he can get some airflow at least into the cockpit of the car and get on with it. I've been sat there for a good 25 minutes. There's the confirmation on the screen that Kelvin, because he caused the red flag, will lose that fastest lap. Incidentally, if you cause 2 red flags, you can be kicked completely out of qualifying. So that will also be in the back of his mind. So it's been a bit of a tough start to the season for Kelvin. He got that brilliant pole position on Sunday at the Red Bull Ring, but the team was struggling with tyres. Torsten Schubert after the race said they'd picked up about 7 tyres, had picked up cuts along the course of the weekend. So they cobbled together what was their least bad set, if you like, that he had to run in the second part of the race, and that was where he went backwards really after the first pit stop, and then again after the second pit stop on Sunday, and finished in 6th place. And Jules Gounon there, we saw he had not the start to the campaign that he wanted either, having looked like he was nailed on for a 2nd place finish until the closing minutes of race 1 on Saturday, when he had suspension failure. 20 points gone, he said, and he said to me yesterday, look, you know, this championship usually comes down to a few points, and I lost 20 points there in one hit. That's hard to take. And he said, I had a chat with Kelvin afterwards. We were both pretty down in the dumps. We both consider ourselves championship contenders. We've both only got 13 points out of it, but there is a long way to go. Right, we're about to get going very shortly, but first more from Verena.
Arjun Maini, hello there, good seeing you. Always have a smile on your face, even though the situation here is not that easy with the red flag, but now you guys are going on the track again in 2 minutes. So how are you feeling about that?
Yeah, excited, always. It's always fun to drive here. Great event, great track, so can't complain.
All right, and what are you hoping for this weekend? I mean, we've got perfect sunshine, it's going to stay dry. What are you hoping for?
Yeah, it was a bit disappointing for us yesterday. We didn't quite have the pace. We've done some work overnight, so I hope we've unlocked something. But let's see. Let's see. You know how DTM is. One day to the next, it changes very quickly.
Yeah, I heard about that. And in regards to the track, it's an old school track. It's tricky, it's challenging. Is it one of your favorites?
Yeah, for sure. I think it's definitely one of my favorites on the calendar. I love this track. It's so much fun, and you know, I love it when there's gravel on the edge of the track and not runoff. So yeah, it's nice.
Cool. All right. Well, enjoy it and hopefully speak to you later. Thank you so much, Arjun. Back to you.
Thanks very much, Arjun Maini in the Ford Mustang. Yeah, towards the tail end of the free practice sessions yesterday in the Mustang. So couldn't get the car working, he said, but they made quite a few changes. It is a long wheelbase car. That, the Aston Martin, the BMW, the 3 longest wheelbase cars. BMWs tend to go well around here, but the Astons certainly, it wasn't their best circuit last year. And I think the same is true of the Ford Mustangs HRT that run the Ford Mustangs and early Fritz. I mean, yes, last year in that Mustang, Maini's best qualifying was 16th. He was 22nd in the other one. I know the weather affected the Saturday qualifying session, but he did manage to get a top 10 finish in one of the races, though. So hopefully the race pace is going to be better on that Evo package that's on the car. Ben Durr was certainly very impressive yesterday on the front row of the grid at the Red Bull Ring. He was troubling the top of the timing screen in the practice sessions yesterday. Second quickest to Matteo Cairoli in free practice 1, and then second quickest to him again in free practice 2, looking for his first podium finish. The McLarens have been pretty good around here in the past. Good to see Kelvin van der Linde, then the South African runner-up in the championship to Mirko Bortolotti in 2024. A year away from this championship. Back now as a BMW driver, a factory BMW driver, when pretty much everything he entered last year in his first year as a BMW factory driver, but always wanted to come back and race in the DTM. Thank goodness for that. Some airflow into the car for the Porsche of Ricardo Feller, who must be absolutely roasting. 24 degrees outside, around about 55 degrees inside the car, and he's been sat there stationary at the end of the pit lane for about 25 minutes.
Good news is we have word from the pit lane that Kelvin is able to start this qualifying session. So whatever the problem was, Schubert have sorted it out. Boy, they needed that 20 minutes, didn't they? So he is going to be able to take part in this qualifying session. You can see him there just getting buckled into the car. But to remind you, he is going to need 2 really good laps because his fastest lap time will be cancelled.
Yeah, and it's not the easiest circuit in the world to overtake on here, so qualifying, the emphasis will be on trying to get as high at the order as you can. It always is, of course, but is perhaps more critical here than at some of the other circuits. For some circuits, half the circuits in the DTM, you get 4 sets of new Pirelli tyres to run across the course of the 2 race days, the Saturday and the Sunday. They have to last both qualifying sessions and both races. And some circuits, half the circuits, you get 3. Well, this is one of the circuits where you get 4 sets, and that's because it's one of the high degradation circuits. There's a lot of tyre wear on these Pirellis. The new Pirellis that have been brought in specifically to use in the DTM this year, and a little bit softer than last year's tyres, said to warm up a bit quicker. We had warm weather at the Red Bull Ring, and we're going to have even warmer conditions here at Zandvoort. So photographers ready, spectators ready, commentators I think are ready.
Well, close.
And drivers about to head out. And again, first thing, they've got to kind of reset now, do the heat soak sequence, and then come back in and perhaps not have as long for that heat to generate in from the brakes into the tyres as they would have liked, because they really do. It's quite a long lap as well. They do need to head out with about 7 or 8 minutes to go, don't they, to start pushing.
Yes, so we are quarter of the way through the qualifying session. Of course, you've got all that hype. You've been building up to this since they got out of bed this morning, and the adrenaline's flowing. You go out there, you do that installation lap, then you're back into the pits, and suddenly the big drop. So now you've got to motivate yourself, get back out there. But as you say, not as long now available to do the heat soak sequence. So we're going to see all the cars out on track fairly shortly. The clock is ticking down. There's Thierry Vermeulen, and he has a big crowd here, a lot of guests for his home race.
Absolutely right, and looking for his first win. Well, he'll be encouraged by the fact Matteo Cairoli, his teammate, was quickest in both of the free practice sessions yesterday. There's an Evo package, an upgrade on that Ferrari 296 for this year, and Thierry has said in the build-up to this event that they're still getting their head around some of the changes that they have made. They made some changes to the gearbox, so it's not just the bodywork on the car. So the gearbox ratios they've worked on to change to give it more torque, to give it more acceleration, not just at lower revs but at higher revs as well. There's a new inlet on the bonnet to massively increase by around about 20% the amount of airflow that's coming through the car. More front winglets on the car as well. So lots of different tweaks to that Ferrari 296. They were okay in terms of pace at the Red Bull Ring, but not as quick as they normally are. It's a circuit that tends to suit the turbo-powered cars, and Ferrari is one of those, and they have gone well there in the past. But here they've got a good record as well. Jack Aitken in the Emile Frey Racing Ferrari is one of the 6 different winners that we've had here from the last 6 races since 2023 in the GT3 era. So he'll be buoyed by that. And Schubert Motorsport will be buoyed by the fact that in dry conditions on the Sunday of last year, albeit a lot cooler than it is today, René Rast, the 3-time champion, was, after crashing out in the wet on the Saturday, the race winner on the Sunday. So that'll be hopeful. Marco Wittmann, as I said, won here in 2024 as well. Kelvin hasn't raced the BMW here yet, but he has been on the podium as an Audi driver at Zandvoort. But they've got to get over this qualifying issue first. And as you say, Kelvin's got to get 2 good laps in, because the first one, the fastest one, will be scrubbed because he caused the red flag.
Interesting. We're heading towards the halfway point of qualifying. To be a team strategist, because rather than them all coming out and doing another heat-soaked cycle, with the exception of Kelvin van der Linde, who we can see in the pit lane there, interesting to see they've pulled everybody back into the garage, so they will have had to have pulled Ricardo Feller all the way back down the pit lane. We saw both the Manthey cars going into the garage. Kelvin van der Linde is the only car that is moving. We saw Thierry Vermeulen, he did one lap and then came back into the pits. But this is a bit of a change of order, really, because normally it's everybody out, then we sit around for a few minutes, and then everybody back out. But with that stoppage, it's changed the whole strategy for this qualifying session.
Yeah, it's all happening a bit later, and I think that heat soak sequence is going to have to be a couple of minutes shorter than ideally they would like, and it's definitely going to have to be shorter for Kelvin van der Linde. First job is to check that the car is okay, really, isn't it, and make sure they've got that oil leak fixed for him. So here he is, and this is that great shot heading in this uphill section now when they come through here full chat at around about 230 kilometres an hour over the crest there as they go through turn 6 at Slopemaker. That is just spectacular to watch. A great place to go and watch the action if you ever come to Zandvoort, because you can walk around the sand dunes and be right by the track there, and then it's downhill as they come into this turn. This is where the oil leak started for him at Schleivach at turn 7, and it was because the oil was dripping out for the rest of the lap, basically half of the lap, that it took around about 20 minutes to clear all of that up. Confirmation on screen again that Kelvin's going to lose his fastest lap. So far this year at the Red Bull Ring, we had pole position in race 1 for Maro Engel. Ben Durr qualified 2nd, Thomas Preining qualified 3rd. On Sunday at the Red Bull Ring, it was this man, Kelvin van der Linde, that got the 3 points for pole position. An amazing effort in only his 2nd qualifying session for Finn Wiebelhaus in the Ford Racing Mustang to qualify 2nd, only 85 thousandths of a second away from pole. And then Lucas Auer was 3rd quickest in the Mercedes in the 2nd qualifying session. So that's how it stands in terms of who's qualified where so far. The driver with the best average qualifying, though, is Maro Engel with a 1st and a 5th so far this year.
So yesterday in free practice, the quickest, the only driver to make it into the 33s was Matteo Cairoli. It was a 1:33.803. We have been, and I continue to expect the times to be below that in this qualifying session. But with all the changes and all the drama, and with an unpredictable surface as well out on track, and clearly there's a fair bit of oil that's been dropped in the Schubert Motorsport garage as well. They want to get that cleaned up. Ever tried cleaning up oil? Not the work of a moment. So this is really unpredictable territory here. But when we do get things going, expecting cars to be moving in just a few moments, 1:33.803 was the quick time from yesterday.
Kelvin stayed out, hasn't he, rather than coming straight back in. So he's not exactly going full chat, is he? So hope all is well with that car. For context, the qualifying lap record here is a 1:31.762, set by Jack Aitken in 2024 in the Emil Frey Racing Ferrari. Last year we had mixed weather conditions, but Sunday was dry, albeit it was quite a bit cooler than this. So qualifying 2 on the Sunday morning last year, it was only 17 degrees the air temperature. Well, it's 24 at the moment, and the track temperature was only 23, and it's about 31 degrees at the moment. So it's quite a bit cooler, and therefore the times were quite a bit slower. But qualifying pole position last year in the dry, René Rast in the BMW, 1:32.750. I would think we've got to get into at least the low to mid 1:33s today in these conditions to be gunning for pole, but of course we don't know exactly how quick these tyres are going to be, these new tyres for the season. Thomas Preining then heading out, eyes fixed firmly on taking his 2nd championship title in 2026, having won the title in 2023. Manthey won the team's championship that year as well, and Manthey are the team's champions this year. That means that they are right at the end of the pit lane, nearest the pit lane entry, and that means, as Thomas and the team were saying at the Red Bull Ring, everybody can react to them. They can see where Thomas and Ricciardo are about to head out for qualifying, and quite a lot of the time they'll dart out in front of them, and he actually lost a couple of laps where he had to abort the lap for traffic in qualifying on Sunday at the Red Bull Ring, which is why he only qualified in 14th place. It wasn't the only reason why. The track was less grippy. It didn't suit the Porsche as well on Sunday as it had on Saturday when he got the race win. But he'll be keen to make sure there are clean laps here, because there are certain sections of this lap, Brian, where if you get stuck behind somebody, you're going to be stuck behind them for about 4 or 5 corners.
Absolutely. It's really the main overtaking opportunities out of the last couple of corners and out along the pit straight into turn 1. So the nightmare is to be stuck behind somebody through the windy section, particularly around through 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So yeah, qualifying so important here. Now things are starting to move pretty well. Every car is either moving or starting to move. Here's Finn Wiebelhaus coming out of the pit lane into the glorious Zandvoort sunshine. So we've got less than 8 minutes remaining of this qualifying session. We have no times on the board. It's going to be a wild 7.5 minutes.
The HRT Ford Mustang then of Finn Wiebelhaus, second youngest driver in the field at 19. You've got Tom Callender, who just turned 18 just before the weekend at the Red Bull Ring, who's the youngest ever driver in the championship. Finn, as I say, brilliant. Front row of the grid qualifying on Sunday at the Red Bull Ring. And Tom Callender ended up with his best result so far, a 4th place finish on the Saturday. That was after Bastian Buus got a post-race penalty. He finished 4th, then got shoved down the order to 14th place because of contact with Ben Durr early in the race. Flashing the headlights, then it's Thomas Priding. I'm coming through, he says. Get out of the way. And it looks like Tommy is going to be the first one potentially to set a benchmark time here. They should be able to get easily 2 flying laps out of these tyres. I think possibly 3, but no more than 3, because as I say, it's quite hard on the tyres here at Zandvoort.
This really is a white-knuckle ride because everybody now has to and is leaving it to the very last minute. So not only do you need to hook up a decent lap, not only do you need to keep it out of the gravel, but you've also got to find some space on the track as well, not trip over anybody else. I'm just looking at a queue of cars heading up towards turn 8 at the moment with Ben Durr at the front of them, but they're all close to each other. So finding some space around the track. Thomas Priding's got plenty of space at the moment, generating the heat, but it's going to be maybe a little while yet before he can get that absolute optimum time. So it's going to be full focus for the next 6.25 minutes to find the space, make sure that everything is in the correct temperature window. So here we go. Thomas Priding now with his foot to the floor heading in towards turn 1.
He's pulled the pin, and there's a pretty clear track ahead of him, not just for this lap, but if he stays out, and I think he will for a second, maybe a third, should still be a clear track for him. You can see him attacking the curbs here. So Tommy Priding will look to nail one if he can in the 133s you would expect in these conditions. And there you see, if you go beyond the curb on the way through that turn, that chicane, there is loose gravel there, so you have to be careful where you pitch the car here, not damage the tyres. Ironically, his teammate Ricardo Feller has ended up in a bit of a pack, despite the fact he was there. And Kelvin van der Linde's getting out of the car. I did wonder, because it was trundling around for a couple of laps. They haven't fixed it, haven't been able to fix it. He's going to start right at the back of the grid for the first race of the weekend. And after all the hope, all the anticipation, the season just hasn't yet got going for Kelvin. But what you can expect are absolute fireworks from the South African when we get to the race this afternoon. But heartbreak for him and Schubert, a pretty rare failure that. These DTM cars tend to be relatively bulletproof, and it's certainly very rare that you see a car dropping out in qualifying, isn't it?
It really is, and yeah, that is an absolute disaster for him. As you say, his season just really not getting out of the blocks at the moment. I have to say, though, Kelvin van der Linde, when he's got his back to the wall, is sometimes a dangerous Kelvin van der Linde, and we've seen that the BMW can go quite well around Zandvoort, so he will be a man to watch. I hope we've got a camera on him in the race this afternoon, because that'll be really exciting. Right, out across the line comes Thomas Priding, a 134.192, so we're pretty well in the ballpark there. We're still not quite at the speeds that we were yesterday, the 133.803 for Matteo Cairoli, but I think there's still more to come from the number 91 machine.
Absolutely, this will be the lap, and he might get another one out of those tyres as well. So Priding pushing on hard. The lap is divided into 3 sectors. The first sector ends up on the exit to turn 6 there at Rob Slotemaker. So he's coming up 31.125 he did in that first sector first time around. It's not quite as quick, 31.183. So he's about half a tenth slower through the first sector than he was on the previous lap. and that might have been to do with the exit from turn 3, which you've absolutely got to nail. So makes his way around turns 8 and 9 there. Got Finn Wiebelhaus just ahead of him as well. Finn, he did a 31.3 through the first sector, and that was a couple of tenths away from Thomas Preining's absolute best first sector. So the Mustang pushing on. It'll be on the next couple of laps that we really get a picture of this. We'll also try and keep an eye on who are the last drivers to cross the start-finish line before the checkered flag comes out, because it might be about the last one to come through that gets the job done. Finn's coming up to a couple of Grasser Lamborghini Temerarios now. Max Powell had an issue with his car yesterday, dropping fluid, which caused one of the red flags that we had in free practice. So he's got those two to deal with. He'll come to the line. I don't think this is going to be the absolute best lap time so far. No, it's not. A 1:34.371 puts him in second place for now. Preining goes through 1:33.962. He found a bit of time in the middle and particularly the final sector, the absolute best so far. So Preining provisional pole. First one into the 1:33.9s in this session.
Thierry Vermeulen has gone quickest in Sector 1, 30.954 in Sector 1. That's now been eclipsed by Matteo Cairoli. So the Ferraris, both of them looking hooked up with purple sectors. Going quickest in Sector 2, Ricardo Feller in the Porsche. So lots of drivers going purple.
Yeah, Ricardo about to come through. This is going to be a good lap in the green Manthey Porsche. Crosses the line fastest of all, 1:33.844 then for Ricardo Feller. Thierry Vermeulen is the next one to watch out for in the Ferraris. You said absolute best middle sector. So he'll be coming around that flat out turn 14, 18-degree banking at Arie Luyendyk and nailing the throttle on the run to the line in the next 5 or 6 seconds. And Maro Engel has got to the top of the times, meanwhile, with a 1:33.6. Vermeulen about to come through. You're on board with him now. Where is this going to put the Dutchman on his home circuit? Puts him to the top of the times. Provisional pole, 1:33.145.
But Matteo Cairoli is going to be coming across the line very, very shortly. He was purple in Sector 1, best of anybody, and a personal best in Sector 2. So Matteo Cairoli comes through, but can't quite eclipse his teammates. So it's an all-Ferrari front row at the moment, but we've still got a minute and a half of time left on the clock.
And we've had Jules Gounon go ahead of Maro Engel. So third and fourth now, the two Mercedes. Jules Gounon with a 1:33.438. Cairoli pipped him by just 9 thousandths of a second. But the gap from first to second at the moment is healthy. It's 0.284 seconds. Thierry Vermeulen has done the absolute best first sector again. Look, it's gone purple quicker than anybody through Sector 1 up to turn 6 with a 30.8. The next sector ends on the run down the back straight before they get to the chicane at the right left at turns 11 and 12. And so they'll be heading there shortly. But will the tyres hold up for that last sector where they really are tested through that 18-degree banking at around about 230 kilometres an hour on the exit for turn 14 at Arie Luyendyk. So he's down a bit in that middle sector, but not by a huge amount. He's lost about a tenth, but he was a few hundredths up in the first sector. It's going to be close.
Ben Durr pops up into second place. Solid drive from him. 0.246 back from Thierry Vermeulen. Nicky Tim was looking pretty strong as well. He's up to 7th. He was at 4th for a while, but now Lucas Hauer up to 2nd. So Lucas Hauer now turning the wick up at 1:33.391.
Vermeulen with a 1:33.243, so a tenth slower than previously. His teammate, though, is about to come over the start-finish line. He set the absolute best middle sector. Can he get himself back onto the front row of the grid? Yes, and onto pole position with a 1:32.974. So that is Matteo Cairoli, Thierry Vermeulen, and Emile Frey Racing 1-2. The flag is out. Everybody's on their last roll of the dice now.
So the last across the line, I think, was the 29 car, Bastien Boost. So Bastien Boost may well have been the last one to see it before the checker flag came out. There's somebody who's picked up some dirt. It's Marco Wittmann, who is steaming along with the McLaren behind him as well. So everybody pushing in the closing stages of this race. Matteo Cairoli continuing to go quicker and quicker. Purple again in Sector 1.
Yeah, fantastic effort by him. Vermeulen second, Auer is third. Second in the championship, remember, and a point coming to him if he stays in third. Bastien Boost, you quite rightly say, will be the last one across the line. He's fourth with a 1:33.4, but he lost a tenth and a half through the first sector on this lap. Cairoli, though, very smooth driving style, still looking after those tyres, still making them work with that absolute best first sector time. doesn't need to do it at the moment because the only driver he's beating is himself, but you never know. Ben Durr has finished his session 5th place. Another really impressive qualifying for the youngster. Not quite as on it as he was at the Red Bull Ring, but still very good in that McLaren. Timo Glock, though, is back in 20th place there, already celebrating. There is Pavel there on the left there, the team all smiles. 1-2, it does not get any better than that. And Matteo Cairoli, who's looked on it all weekend long so far, fastest in free practice 1, fastest in free practice 2. He's backed off now in the middle sector. He knows the job he's done. Everyone else has crossed the line apart from Bastian Boos, and Bastian is not quite flying at the moment. So it is going to be a first pole position in only his 3rd qualifying session for Matteo Cairoli. 3 championship points for him, 2 points for Thierry Vermeulen, and a very useful championship point for Luigi Auer in the Mercedes, who qualifies 3rd.
Fantastic stuff. And I have to say, hats off to Bastian Boos. He's proving that it's not going to take long to get up to speed. A P4 in his 2nd ever weekend in DTM. That's really strong. Also, Ben Durr up in 5th place. His teammate, Timo Glock, down in 20th.
Yeah, Bastian Boos has qualified 4th, 5th and 6th in his 3 qualifying sessions so far. He's going to be one to watch, I reckon, the former Porsche Super Cup champion.
He really is. I mean, we had high expectations, but that was very, very impressive. I think Thierry Vermeulen's parked a little bit close to Matteo Cairoli. He said, I'm very slim, but I'm not that slim.
Oh, well done, Matteo Cairoli. Absolutely brilliant. Well, he looks solid. And the team looks solid. The Ferrari looks solid at the Red Bull Ring, but it wasn't quite sparkling. It is now, although they both had their issues in the races. And Matteo did look quick and was certainly punching up there in and around the top 6 and hovering around the podiums. Gets a warm congratulations from the ever sportsman-like Luigi Auer, who gets that championship point, which moves him on to 38 points. So he's now only 6 points behind Maro Engel. And remember, Maro has got the 20 kilograms of success ballast on for the race. He'll start from 8th place as we go down to Verena.
And the man who will be starting in P2 is Thierry Vermeulen. You've got a smile on your face. Obviously, it being your home race, it's fantastic, and you can work from there.
For sure, yes. We had a lot of issues actually on my car yesterday. The guy stayed until 3 in the morning swapping the engine, so this one is really thanks to the team. The car, honestly, we did 2 installation laps for the tires, to warm up the tires, and I think this worked surprisingly well for us. Also great, of course, to have the other car on pole. I would be lying if I wasn't jealous, but I think the car was really capable of it. So at the end, it's just looking a bit at the corners for myself. But big thanks to the whole team and to everyone here. It was a pleasure to drive this qualifying, really.
All right, perfect. Thank you so much. Back to you.
Fantastic job by Thierry Vermeulen. That is his 4th pole position in the DTM. He got 2 last year, 1 the year before. He's already got 1 this year. 2nd place for him. Matteo Cairoli with the 1st pole position in only his 3rd attempt. Emil Frey racing with a 1-2. Cairoli, Vermeulen separated in the end by almost 0.2 of a second. But as Thierry said, a great job by the team to get him up there and running. Then Lucas Auer, very useful 3rd. Bastian Boos 4th. Ben Durr 5th. Jules Gounon 6th. Luca Engstler 7th. Didn't talk about Luca, but that's a great effort in the Temerario.
That's amazing.
For Red Bull Abt. Maro Engel in 8th. He'll be able to come through, I'm sure. Nicky Tim, Thomas Preining only in 10th place in that session. And remember, Kelvin van der Linde will have to come from the very back of the grid after the problems with his car. From Brian Oliver and me, Chris Hartley in the comms box, that's it for now. We'll see you again for the race later on. Back down to Verena.
And the man who will be starting in pole position is Matteo Cairoli. Congratulations. Already last weekend, the first round of DTM was going well for you with a 9 and a 14th place, I think. And now anything is possible here from pole position to win. That'd be nice, wouldn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, first of all, massive thank you to these guys here for allowing me to be on pole today. It's an amazing circuit, an amazing joy, you know, for me, especially here in Zandvoort, because I haven't raced so much. And it's always great, you know, to achieve such a good result in a very difficult track, because it's not easy. So I'm very, very happy for the moment, and we'll try to finish the job this afternoon.
Looking forward to that. Thank you so much, Matteo. And yeah, we're looking forward to the race later on. You don't want to miss it here in beautiful sunny Zandvoort. So see you later. And now here are the highlights. Do enjoy. Bye-bye.